Good morning, children. Today, let us learn that chapter 2 Is matter around us pure? How do we judge whether milk, ghee, butter, salt, spices, mineral water, or juice that we buy from the market are pure? Have you ever noticed that the word pure written on the packs of these consumables? For a common person, pure means having no adulteration. But for a scientist, all these things are actually mixtures of different substances and hence not pure. For example, milk is actually a mixture of water, fat, proteins, etc. When a scientist says that something is pure, it means that all the constituent particles of that substance are the same in their chemical nature. A pure substance consists of a single type of particles. In other words, a substance is a pure single form of matter. So, according to the scientists, a substance is said to be pure only when it contains only one form of matter, a single form of matter. As we look around, we can see that most of the matter around us exists as mixtures of two or more pure components. For example, seawater, minerals, soil, etc. are all mixtures. What is a mixture? Mixtures are constituted by more than one kind of pure form of matter, known as a substance. A substance cannot be separated into other kinds of matter by any physical process. We know that dissolved sodium chloride can be separated from water by physical process of evaporation. So here, sodium chloride is nothing but common salt. When you mix it in water, you can remove that salt by the process of evaporation. When you keep that salt water for a day or two, the water gets evaporated and the sodium chloride will be left over. However, sodium chloride is itself a substance and cannot be separated by physical process into its chemical constituents. Similarly, sugar is a substance because it contains only one kind of pure matter and its composition is the same throughout. Soft drink and soil are not single substances. Whatever the source of the substance may be, it will always have the same characteristic properties. Therefore, we can say that a mixture contains more than one substance. Types of mixtures. Depending upon the nature of the components that form a mixture, we can have different types of mixtures. Let us divide the class into groups A, B, C and D. Group A takes a beaker containing 50 ml of water and one spatula full of copper sulfate powder. Group B takes 50 ml of water and 2 spatula full of copper sulfate powder in a beaker. Group C and D can take different amounts of copper sulfate and potassium permanganate or common salt, that is sodium chloride, and mix the given components to form a mixture. Report the observations on the uniformity in color and texture. Groups A and B have obtained a mixture which has a uniform composition throughout. Such mixtures are called homogeneous mixtures or solution. Some other examples of such mixtures are salt in water and sugar in water. Compare the color of the solutions of the two groups. Though both the groups have obtained copper sulfate solution, but the intensity of color of the solutions is different. This shows that a homogeneous mixture can have a variable composition. Group C and D have obtained mixtures which contain physically distinct parts and have non-uniform compositions. Such mixtures are called heterogeneous mixtures. Mixtures of sodium chloride and iron filings, salt and sulfur, and oil and water are examples of heterogeneous mixtures. So what are the examples of heterogeneous mixture? Sodium chloride and iron filings, salt and sulfur, and oil and water are the examples of heterogeneous mixture. Now let us go for activity 2.2. Let us again divide the class into 4 groups A, B, C and D. Distribute the following samples to each group. Few crystals of copper sulfate to group A, 1 spatula full of copper sulfate to group B, chalk powder or wheat flour to group C. Few drops of milk or ink to group D. Each group should add the given sample in water and stir properly using a glass rod. Are the particles in the mixture visible? Direct a beam of light from a torch through the beaker containing the mixture and observe from the front. Was the path of the beam of light visible? Leave the mixtures undisturbed for a few minutes and set up the filtration apparatus in the meantime. Is the mixture stable or do the particle begins to settle after some time? Filter the mixture. Is there any residue on the filter paper? Discuss the results and form an opinion. Group C and B have got a solution. Group C has got a suspension. Group D has got a colloidal solution. Now we shall learn about solutions, suspensions and colloidal solutions in the following sections. What is a solution? A solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. You come across various types of solutions in your daily life. Lemonade, soda water, etc. are all examples of solutions. Usually we think of a solution as a liquid that contains either a solid, liquid or a gas dissolved in it. But we can also have a solid solution, alloys, and gaseous solutions, air. In a solution, there is a homogeneity at the particle level. For example, lemonade tastes the same throughout. This shows that particles of sugar or salt are evenly distributed in the solution. Alloys are mixtures of two or more metals or a metal and a non-metal and cannot be separated into their components by physical methods. But still, an alloy is considered as a mixture because it shows the properties of its constituents and can have variable composition. For example, brass is a mixture of approximately 30% of zinc and 70% of copper. A solution has a solvent and a solute as its components. The component of the solution that dissolves the other component in it, usually the component present in larger amount, is called the solvent. For example, water. The component of the solution that is dissolved in the solvent, usually present in lesser quantity, maybe salt or sugar, is called the solute. Examples: a solution of sugar in water is a solid in liquid solution. In this solution, sugar is a solute and water is a solvent. A solution of iodine in alcohol, known as tincture of iodine, has iodine solid as a solute and alcohol liquid as a solvent. Aerated drinks like soda water, etc. are gas in liquid solutions. These contain carbon dioxide gas as solute and water as liquid as solvent. Air is a mixture of gas and gas. Air is a homogeneous mixture of a number of gases. Its two main constituents are oxygen 21% and nitrogen 78%. The other gases are present in very small quantities. Properties of a solution. A solution is a homogeneous mixture. The particles of a solution are smaller than 1 nanometer. 10 to the power of minus 9 meter in diameter. So they cannot be seen by naked eyes because of very small particle size. They do not scatter a beam of light passing through the solution. So the path of the light is not visible in a solution. The solute particles cannot be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration. The solute particles do not settle down when left undisturbed. That is, a solution is stable. Concentration of a solution. In activity 2.2, we observed that groups A and B obtained different shades of solutions. So, we understand that in a solution, the relative proportion of the solute and solvent can be varied. Depending upon the amount of solution present in a solution, it can be called a dilute, concentrated, or a saturated solution. Dilute and concentrated are comparative terms. In activity 2.2, the solution obtained by group A is dilute as compared to that obtained by group B. Activity 2.3. Take approximately 50 ml of water each in two separate beakers. Add salt in one beaker and sugar or barium chloride in the second beaker with continuous stirring. When no more solute can be dissolved, heat the contents of the beaker to raise the temperature by about 5 degrees Celsius. Start adding the solute again. Is the amount of salt and sugar or barium chloride that can be dissolved in water at a given temperature the same? At any particular temperature, a solution that has dissolved as much solute as it is capable of dissolving is said to be a saturated solution. In other words, when no more solute can be dissolved in a solution at a given temperature, it is called a saturated solution. The amount of the solute present in the saturated solution at this temperature is called its solubility. If the amount of solute contained in a solution is less than the saturation level, it is called an unsaturated solution. What would happen if you had to take a saturated solution at a certain temperature and cool it slowly? We can infer from the above activity that different substances in a given solvent have different solubilities at the same temperature. The concentration of a solution is the amount of solute present in a given amount, mass or volume of solution, or the amount of solute dissolved in a given mass or volume of the solvent. Concentration of solution is equal to the amount of solute divided by the amount of solution, or amount of solute by amount of solvent. There are various ways of expressing the concentration of a solution, but here we will learn only two methods. Mass by mass percentage of a solution, that is equal to mass of the solute by mass of the solution into 100. Second, mass by volume percentage of a solution, that is mass of solute divided by volume of solution into 100. Example, a solution contains 40 gram of common salt in 320 gram of water. Calculate the concentration in terms of mass by mass percentage of the solution. Answer, solution. Mass of solute or salt is equal to 40 gram. Mass of the solvent or water equals 320 gram. We know mass of the solution equals mass of solute plus mass of solvent. That is equal to 40 gram plus 320 gram. So, that is equal to 40 plus 320, 360 gram. Mass percentage of solution. Mass of solute divided by mass of solution into 100. 40 by 360 into 100 is equal to 11.1%. We have learned about the solution. Now let us learn about the suspension. What is a suspension? Non-homogeneous systems like those obtained by Group C in activity 2.2. That is chalk powder dissolved in water, in which solids are dispersed in liquids are called suspensions. A suspension is a heterogeneous mixture in which the solute particles do not dissolve but remain suspended throughout the bulk of the medium. Particles of a suspension are visible to the naked eye. Properties of a suspension. Suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. The particles of a suspension can be seen by the naked eye. The particles of a suspension scatter a beam of light passing through it and make its path visible. The solute particles settle down when a suspension is left undisturbed. That is, a suspension is unstable. They can be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration. When the particles settle down, the suspension breaks and it does not scatter light anymore. Now, colloidal. What is a colloidal solution? The mixture obtained by Group D in activity 2.2 is called a colloid or a colloidal solution. The particles of a colloid are uniformly spread throughout the solution due to the relatively smaller size of particles as compared to that of a suspension. The mixture appears to be homogeneous, but actually a colloidal solution is a heterogeneous mixture. For example, milk. Because of the small size of colloidal particles, we cannot see them with naked eyes, but these particles can easily scatter a beam of visible light, as observed in activity 2.2. The scattering of beam of light is called the Tyndall effect, after the name of the scientist who discovered this effect. Tyndall effect can also be observed when a fine beam of light enters a room throughout a small hole. This happens due to the scattering of light by the particles of dust and smoke in the air. Can you see in the picture here, solution of copper sulfate does not show Tyndall effect. B, mixture of water and milk shows Tyndall effect. Path of the light becomes visible here. Tyndall effect can be observed when sunlight passes through the canopy of a dense forest. In the forest, mist contains tiny droplets of water, which act as particles of colloid dispersed in air. Properties of a colloid. A colloid is a heterogeneous mixture. The size of particles of a colloid is too small to be individually seen by naked eyes. Colloids are big enough to scatter a beam of light passing through it and makes its path visible. They do not settle down when left undisturbed. That is, a colloid is quite unstable. They cannot be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration, but a special technique of separation known as centrifugation, perform activity 2.5, can be used to separate the colloid's particle. The components of a colloidal solution are the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. The solute-like component or the dispersed particles in a colloid form the dispersed phase, and the component in which the dispersed phase is suspended is known as the dispersing medium. Colloids are classified according to the state, solid, liquid or gas, of the dispersing medium and the dispersed phase. A few common examples are given in the table 2.1. From this table, you can see that they are very common in everyday life. For example, here dispersed phase, liquid, solid, gas, liquid, solid, gas, liquid, solid. Dispersing medium, type and example. So dispersing phase, liquid, gas, aerosol, fog, clouds, mist. Solid, gas, aerosol, smoke, automobile exhaust. Gas, liquid, foam, shaving cream. Liquid, emulsion, milk, face cream. Solid and liquid, sol, milk of magnesia or mud. Gas, solid, foam, rubber, sponge, pumice. Liquid, solid, gel, jelly, cheese, butter. Solid, gel, colored gemstone, milky, glass. If you are new to this channel, make sure you hit the red subscribe button and also the bell icon to stay updated of the coming videos we post, and also share with your friends and other students. The continuation of this chapter will be given in the next video. We'll continue in the next video.
Please do subscribe to our Science Tutorials channel and also press the bell icon to get more instant updates immediately.